What's up, YouTube? I'm about to rock with the Facebook too. What's up, Facebook? Thank y'all for being here. Sorry, it might take me a little bit longer to set it up because I'm not home with my normal computer. Looks like it's good. Let me know if you can hear me. Thumbs up on YouTube and Facebook. But I want to talk about a few things today. The first one was my Candace Owens show appearance. You can check it out on her network. And also, I think she has YouTube and Facebook channels. She'll probably release clips throughout the week. And I'm going to try to get my hands on some of the clips as well and upload them if they allow me to. I haven't asked yet, but I'm pretty sure I can. Talk about that. And then I want to talk about the Alec Baldwin special. I watched the whole thing. I didn't just see the clips. I don't usually tell people to watch television because I myself don't like it, or I'm not really a big like Netflix or Hulu person. But if you watch one thing, you should watch the Alec Baldwin special. It's pretty wild. I watched the whole thing, and it's even worse than it looks like out of context. Like, I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he did that. I can't believe his lawyer allowed him to do that. And I would be shocked if he doesn't go to court and that entire special is just aired in front of the jury, because it's shocking that that even got aired. It's worth a watch. It's pretty wild. And then I want to talk about this article by The Atlantic. It says, "What does fully vaccinated mean? How to socialize safely in the booster era?" And they're instructing people to pretty much, not hang out with unboosted people or unvaccinated people and talk to them outside, or if someone has two vaccines, they're okay, but if they don't have any, you should talk to them with masks outside. Unbelievable stuff. But I'm gonna take it slow today. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Usually I'm quick. I got a bunch of papers and stuff, but today I'm sipping my coffee and I'm gonna take it a little slow. You know what I'm saying? I'm traveling, so that's what it is. Rich said, "What's going on? American peace, love." Appreciate y'all. Someone said Alec Baldwin is on the flight logs. Yeah, I saw Jack Posebic tweet that he was on the flight logs. Must have been a fun plane ride. What's up, Austria? What's going on, my guy? Sorry about what's happening in Austria. That sucks. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it. Someone said, "I need someone to help me pay for this hotel room. I'm homeless," or motel room. Damn, we got some guy on Facebook. He's hustling people in the comments trying to get a free hotel room. He's like, "Can anybody give me a free motel room?" I'm not trying to be mean. Maybe you really do need help or something. I don't know, but man, that's wild. I never seen somebody come to my live stream and try to hustle a free motel room. Yeah. Any Anomaly fans out there? $50, that's all I need. Oh no, I just did the okay symbol. They're gonna like freeze frame that and call me a supremacist. I was just trying to fake smoke like crack, like a homeless person. Not all homeless people smoke crack. I'm not trying to say, oh no, he's serious. He said I'm serious. Can I help you, bro? I'm in the middle of a live stream. You want me to pause the live stream and Venmo you money? I don't know what to tell you. I know you're probably not a crack smoker, but can I help you at this moment? No. Do I usually look at Facebook messages and give people hotels? I would say no. But if you can state your case, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to laugh at your situation, but I was not expecting that. Imagine Tucker Carlson's on television, right? And someone just comes on set and they're like, "Yo, Tucker, I'm homeless. Can I get a hotel room?" That's the beauty of Facebook and YouTube. It's all live. You get what I'm saying? We got over 2,000 people, 1,800 on Facebook, 300 on YouTube, and it's like a live set. You could just hop on and ask for a motel room and steal the show. Someone said Jocko Willick for president, Big Short, Pfizer, Moderna, J&J. I'm confused. Too many emojis, but thank you for the super chat. All right, let's start it up. Sorry, this coffee is actually really good. I mean, it's like hotel coffee, but it's pretty fire. All right, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I'm on the panel of the Candace Owens show, and I'm aware now that she has a YouTube channel and a Facebook situation. So I believe she'll post a lot of the clips there. We talked about a bunch of different topics. I think we talked about Alec Baldwin briefly. I'm trying to think what else we talked about. Like 6 different things. Sorry, I'm blanking on it right now, but I think it's on the Daily Wire in full, but a lot of it's going to be uploaded in clips on her YouTube and Facebook. So I just check out that, and I'll get clips if I can. and try to share them as well. It went great. Um, the guests were Jack Posebic. That's the first time I met him. I've actually never met him. He was cool. Allie Beth Stuckey, and then me on the panel. I think I did well. I think people laughed a lot. You know, I threw some jokes in there, so I think it went really well, and I hope people enjoy it. It was a good time. Um, that's pretty much all I'll say. You could just watch it. I don't really have much to say about it. Um, check it out, and I'll share clips if I can. I want to talk about this Alec Baldwin special because a lot of people just saw the clips on Twitter. And once again, I don't like to tell people to watch television or Hulu or Netflix. Like, I don't own any of those myself. But I did get access to a Hulu that someone else owned. You know, they logged their account in, and I watched the Alec Baldwin special, the full thing. Um, I first of all, I want to say this so it doesn't get taken out of context. I feel really bad for that woman who got killed. I feel really bad for the guy who got shot. I feel horrible. It's a shame that Alec did this because it's not a laughing matter at all. Somebody died. It's disgusting. But I can't help but think that Alec Baldwin, not what happened, terrible, but the Alec Baldwin special, I watched the whole thing. It was the funniest thing I've probably seen all year, and it wasn't supposed to be a comedy. That being said, it's not my fault. It's Alec's fault, the director's fault. Like, what the hell was that? Um, I don't watch a lot of stuff, but I did watch Tiger King. That was one documentary I liked because it was real. It's not just like a scripted thing. It's like what really happened in the tiger industry. I feel like this was more entertaining than Tiger King because Alec Baldwin, you think Trump with the vaccines is bad? You know, I always joke about Trump. I did it. I sell the vaccines. Bro, Alec Baldwin is the most egotistical, like self-centered person like ever, to the point where like it's unbelievable that it even happened. I just want to walk you through a few things that happened during the Alec Baldwin special. And once again, I don't want to give this guy ratings, but if you want to see something like it's like a master class on how to be like a psychopath, watch it. It's crazy. So, first of all, he starts crying like during talking about himself, like he's reminiscing on his career. And he's like, I did movies with Meryl Streep. And he starts to cry, like, not like, of course, he cried at certain other parts with the woman dying, but he cried at like himself working with Meryl Streep. He's like, I worked with Meryl Streep. Like, I'm like, bro, you're supposed to cry at the whole time. He's like, I'm not trying to make this about myself. It's about her. But the whole thing's about him, bro. If it's about her, why are you talking about your movies with Meryl Streep? You're such a loser. Like, he's like, I did movies with Meryl Streep. And it's like, what? Oh, cool. Good for you. I'm glad. Like, that's very awesome. But it's so crazy. Seriously, I was like laughing the whole time. And nothing's funny about someone dying, but there is something funny about Alec Baldwin talking about himself for 50 minutes. I was like, what the hell is he doing? And then the George, I don't know, Stephanopoulos, I don't know what the hell the guy's name is, whatever. The guy from ABC or whoever interviewed him, he's like, you know, actors like George Clooney, like they played a clip of George Clooney talking, and George Clooney said he always checks the clip before he films. You know, he takes it out, he shows everybody that, or the barrel or whatever, you know, he shows everybody that it's empty. He says he shows everyone on set, and then he puts it back in and makes sure that it's completely empty. And the interviewer tells that to Alec Baldwin, and he's like, you know, George Clooney says that he always empties it and shows everybody before the film. And dude, Alec Baldwin goes, oh, does he? Good for him. Oh, good for him. He's like, I have a lot of experience in guns too. And I'm like, bro, you killed somebody. What the hell is wrong with you? Like, oh, good for him. Good for him. It's like, yeah, it is good for George Clooney because he didn't kill anybody and you did kill somebody. So it's like, what the frick is wrong with this guy? He is seriously the douchiest person I've ever met. And I lived in Los Angeles around actors that act kind of like him. He might be the douchiest person on the planet. Like, oh, good for George Clooney. It's like, yes, good for George Clooney for not killing someone. Bad for Alec Baldwin for killing somebody. So when fronted with the fact that there were certain actors that took more safety precautions, instead of being like apologetic or anything, he literally just says, oh, good for him. And then starts talking about himself and how great he is with gun safety. It's like, bro, you just killed somebody. And you just can't stop talking about how great. Well, I'm better with guns than George Clooney. No, you're not, dummy. You killed someone and he didn't. Like, well, I'm like watching this thing and I'm like, holy shit. How did he get the green light to do this interview? the whole thing is going to be aired in court, and he's going to look dumb. You think the part with, oh, I didn't touch the trigger was the worst part of that thing? Watch the whole thing. It's not even a top 5 worst part. I mean, it is definitely a top 5 worst part, but you know what I mean. So then he's talking about shooting the woman and the guy, and he says he didn't pull the trigger. He's like, oh, I just hit the hammer. I didn't pull the trigger. And then he's like, I didn't even know I shot them for over 45 minutes. And I was like, what? You didn't know you shot them? Like, he's not saying, oh, I was so in shock. Like, he's literally acting like he didn't know he shot them. Like, I'm not joking. This is what a narcissistic psychopath Alec Baldwin is. He goes along the lines of this. He's like, she's on the ground. I was like, did she faint? And then this guy's screaming because the bullet went through her and hit some guy in the arm or something. And he's like, I'm like, why is the guy screaming? And he's like, I didn't know I shot them until 45 minutes later. And I'm like, what the frick are you talking about, bro? If he goes to court, he's screwed off of this interview. Like, he's such an idiot. And then it comes out later that they called 911 that she got shot. And from what I remember, his story didn't even seem to add up. He's like, I didn't remember I didn't know I shot her for 45 minutes. The first time I even realized I killed her and shot her was at the police station. They told me. He wants you to believe that over 45 minutes to hours, he doesn't know he shot her and thinks that she fainted or that the guy just is screaming. Like, it's like, dude, it's not like a hard thing to figure out. Like, I know you might have not meant to, but like, if you pull a gun or the gun goes off magically or whatever you want people to believe, and someone falls to the ground and someone screams and it doesn't cross your mind for over 45 minutes that you shot them, like literally they're calling the ER, there's a helicopter, you're outside, and no one told you that you shot her. Someone knew that you shot her because they called the 911 and said that, I believe, from the documentary. What the hell is wrong with this guy? Like, he's so into himself. He's like, I don't even want to believe I shot her, so I just told myself I didn't. She must have fainted. Like, dude, he's such a psychopath. You gotta watch this interview. And then like the guy's like, do you feel any guilt at all? And he's like, no, 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 no. Like, he's like, no, 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 no. He's like, if I felt guilty, he's like, I'd probably kill myself. Like, I'm like, dude, what it's mind blowing. Like, he makes Donald Trump look humble. And he makes Kanye West look humble. He makes Kanye West look like the humblest person on the planet. Like, Kanye doesn't care about himself at all compared to Alec Baldwin. I think, like, psychologically, the reason he hated Donald Trump is because he like didn't want to face himself. So he just like he's like, oh, Orange Man bad. Oh, Orange Man's so egotistical. He's such a narcissist. It's like, I think you're trying to talk to the mirror, bro. Like, a lot of people, scapegoated Trump in a weird way. I'm not saying Trump's perfect. I have my problems with him too, but like, not the same way the left does. Like, they're just like, he does it's like, is he really doing everything wrong in 2017, or do you just not want to like take responsibility for your own life and your own like personal problems, so it's easier to like watch Rachel Maddow and have her tell you that like Donald Trump's like Hitler or something? Like, so I feel like now in hindsight, watching what a psycho he is, like that must have just been like the easy, like, let me blame everything on Trump. It's like, bro, look in the mirror, dog, because like you make Trump and Kanye look humble. Like, that's how bad that interview was. It's so sad that she died. He made the whole thing about himself. His story seems wildly inconsistent and unbelievable. And I would be shocked if somebody doesn't file a lawsuit. He said, I mean, they already are filing lawsuits, but he said the husband was on his side, or it seemed like it, the husband of the woman he killed. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if that husband doesn't watch that ABC interview and sue Alec Baldwin off of that interview, because he could probably win in court. I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. He could probably win in court off of that interview. Like, that interview alone is so bad. So, they say like after you commit a crime or after something bad happens, you have the right to remain silent. Like, and your lawyer's like, you should remain silent. You don't want to say anything, like he should have stayed silent. I can't, it was in a weird way, like the greatest thing I've ever watched. Cause I was like, this is even better than Tiger King. Like, I can't believe he did that. I can't believe he said that. I can't believe they allowed him to do that. He's if that goes to court, that's going to play. And I would be shocked if he's not guilty off of the ABC thing. Like, you don't want you don't want that much blabber just like posted on Hulu and ABC. Unbelievable. Someone said anyone who owns a gun knows you don't point it at anyone. Yeah, he said that she told him to point it at him, but here's my last thoughts before I move on. I don't like to funnel people to mainstream media, but you should watch that special. It's wild, and it's worse than even the clips look. The whole thing is like weird comedy because he's such a narcissistic, self-centered piece of trash. It's literally like blew my mind. I watched it and I sat there for like 2 hours, literally like I can't believe he did that. That's unbelievable. But he was a part producer in the film too. And I don't like to overanalyze things, but I guess I do, since I have a news analysis platform. My opinion, because I can't prove any of this, but my opinion of what happened on set, listening to Alec Baldwin for 50 minutes talk about himself, is that he hasn't been in the Hollywood spotlight for a while, right? Nobody really cares about Alec Baldwin. Orange man bad. I'm a racist, Donald Trump. And like that was like the only thing people cared about Alec Baldwin. Like, oh, Donald Trump, he's so funny. Like, besides that, as an actor, he hasn't really been relevant for a while, right? And to somebody that clearly loves himself as much as Alec Baldwin, I think it bothers him to kind of be a wash up. So if you look at his Instagram posts and him talking about himself, and like, I really listened to him on the interview, it sounds to me like, this was a small budget film, but he was really excited to be back on set. But once again, I don't think it was like everything was taken care of. The armor was a brand new armor. She was like the person who was supposed to be handling the guns. I don't know if I said that properly. It was the daughter of, somebody famous, and she was on a podcast saying like she was nervous. Like, just all around was like a trash production, it seemed like, for the most part. Not trying to be mean, but like it didn't seem like they had their shit together. It just sounded like to me the number one priority was Alec Baldwin. So it was like he was just like role playing actor, like, oh, I'm a cowboy, hey, look at me, I'm back in Hollywood, oh, I'm doing a cowboy film, oh, this is so fun, I'm an actor again, I want to be like I was when I was with Meryl Streep. So I could see why a lot of things were not taken care of. I'm not blaming him directly, but based off of his Instagram post, his wife like, oh my God, like look at where he's such a cowboy. Like that's what the vibe was to me. Like I'm sure they weren't paying attention to things that normal producers and normal, safety people that want to keep people safe are, because it's like all about him. Like, oh, I'm a celebrity again. I'm shooting a movie again. It's like, yeah, you're role playing shooting a movie, but you don't want, I don't think he hired her per se, but you don't want somebody handling the guns who's only done it twice and is like nervous about it. Like that's not a smart person to put in charge of it. And then he said that I believe like an assistant off screen handed him the gun. That sounds like a bad idea. He says that that's normal, but listen, I don't work in Hollywood, but it seems weird to me that a non-gun instructor would hand him a gun, say it's cold. He doesn't check like a lot of people do. Like it just sounds like it's not just his fault. Like everyone's going to say it obviously like pointing a gun. There's things that he could have done. But to me, it sounded like the whole thing was a total shit show, because it's like Alec Baldwin trying to role play, actor again, instead of actually put together a good production. And on that note, he says he wasn't the producer calling all the shots, and he wasn't responsible for it. He's not trying to take accountability because obviously he probably doesn't want to go to jail and he doesn't want to get charged. So he's like, oh, it was the other producers that hired those people and stuff. That was kind of his vibe. On that note, I want to say this. I don't know what happened on that set, but when Alec Baldwin's there, I would say, like he's the guy that has the clout, because he's the big actor. So I don't know what he was directly responsible for or not, but I'm sure in many ways he was calling the shots. I'm sure he probably could have got stuff changed around, but I think he was definitely more concerned with like looking like a cowboy actor, and he's back on the set and he's so happy to be there because he used to work with Meryl Streep, and clearly like things that other actors and other armors and other producers do, none of these people were doing. So I do think it just seems sloppy all the way around. Yeah, I don't it's crazy. You should watch it. Like I don't like to tell people to watch stuff, but it was the most entertaining thing I've seen all year. Just off of like it's just so the lack of self-awareness is comedy in itself. And it shouldn't be because someone died, but like he's just so into himself, so oblivious. And his story of not knowing he shot her, like I didn't know till the police told me. 45 minutes later, someone told me I shot her, and I was like, what? I thought she fainted. Like, dude, like he is such a crazy liar. Like, you didn't know for 45, everybody knew, or like, they're calling the emergency. You had a gun in your hand, like you thought like a guy just screamed and she just fainted. That's like the most narcissistic thing ever, that like you just shot somebody by mistake, but you're so into yourself that you literally lie to yourself for like an hour and just tell yourself that she fainted in front of you. Like, if I had a gun in my hand, it went off and someone like went down, I'd be like, oh my god, that was a mistake. Oh no, we need to save her life. But he's like, he said he kneeled over her for 60 seconds, according to this thing. He kneeled over her for about 60 seconds. He said she was conscious. So he apparently was over her for 60 seconds. He went outside and he claims that he literally didn't know that he shot her for 40. Like, if they play this crap in court, they're going to be like, she was conscious. Yes. You kneeled over her. Yes. So did she say anything like you shot me since she was conscious? Conscious means like aware, awake. You stood over her for a minute and she was conscious, but you didn't know you shot her until 45 minutes later. To me, it's someone said poor lady. I feel horrible for her. I would be blown away if her husband does not like charge after watching that. I mean, he might have thought beforehand, like even I wouldn't say I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, but like that was, to me, he dug himself in the biggest hole ever. I'm sure he'll get off though, but we'll see. Unbelievable stuff. You got to check it out. Second thing or third thing I want to talk about, then I'll answer questions probably for like 15, 20 minutes and hang out and just talk about whatever. This is an Atlantic article. The headline of it, it says how to socialize safety in the booster era. This winter, there are many shades of what it means to be vaccinated. Here's how to make everyday risk assessments. And before they do that, here's one thing. Here's one thing that someone said, careful, the lid's not on tight. Thank you, Mom. I appreciate you trying to help me drink my coffee. It would be quite the disaster if I spilled it on my nice clothes. But I want to read something. This is off of an EDU website for, I believe, University of Minnesota. But this is something they never talk about. They don't tell people who are vaccinated or unvaccinated, whatever. This is so important, and I try to tell my audience all the time because I don't hate people. I don't care if you got the shots or not. I don't hate you. I want you to be healthy either way. It says, does fear affect your immune system? Physical health. Fear weakens our immune system and can cause cardiovascular damage, gastrointestinal problems such as ulcers and irritable bowel syndrome, and decreased fertility. It can lead to accelerated aging and even premature death. So, fear and stress, they call them the silent killers because when you're fearful and stressing out, your body is getting destroyed in many ways. You're weakening your body. You're hurting yourself. You don't want to live a life of stress and you don't want to live a life of fear. That includes me as well. So nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to stress out a little bit unless you're like a Buddhist monk. But it's good to know this so you can be aware of it and try to not hurt your body. So this is not really my opinion. I guess you could call it my opinion, but I would say it's pretty obvious, pretty common sense. If people are scaring you and pushing you towards fear and stress, and they're not telling you the damage that fear and stress causes, they're trying to hurt you and they're trying to kill you slowly, or quickly. So, I think of these people as like they've lost their mind and they're trying to hurt people because how are you just going to scare people for 2 years and not talk about how fear and stress hurts your body? And also, childhood obesity rising, suicides, opioid overdoses. There's real life consequences to this stuff. And before I read this article, I had a tweet today that wildly enough got shared by a sitting House member, Paul Gosar. He retweeted it, which was pretty epic. Shout out Paul Gosar, the lit. They call him the realest one. Some people say he's the realest one. If he follows me and retweets my tweets, I have a hard time disagreeing. But anyway, he retweeted this one. I said, the communist death toll was always higher than Germany in World War II. No historian even argues that fact. But you barely learn about the horror because communists won World War II, established the UN after, and control academia, media, and pop culture. They're killing millions again. I can't believe somebody in government tweeted that. It's pretty based. But it's true. I mean, communists did kill more people than Germany, and you never learn about it. Why? Because I feel like they're trying to do that again. And I'm not trying to be one of these exaggerators before I read the article. Oh my God, they're gonna kill millions of people. I could show you that it's happening with like mainstream articles. I could show you a Washington Post article. Actually, let me Google it just to show you, because even Washington Post is like, yeah, admitting like this could happen off of what we're doing, here's the article that I always reference. It says, Washington Post, the pandemic pushes hundreds of millions of people towards starvation and poverty. Okay. Washington Post published this in September 25th, 2020. So if you look at many communist regimes, it's maybe not glorious, or it doesn't make good Hollywood movies, or maybe the people who run Hollywood don't want to, publish this stuff because they're the type of people who would do it to you. But in general, this is how communists have killed, I don't know about the most people, but at least millions upon tens of millions of people, is through starvation. It's not like always this like, oh, they're going to line you up against the wall and shoot you. That has happened in communist regimes, but a lot of the deaths come from starvation. And it's not, I guess it doesn't make a good movie, so a lot of people don't know about it. But I don't even have to go to like a conspiracy website to say that they're possibly killing millions of people. Even the mainstream media, the Washington Post, admits that the pandemic pushes hundreds of millions of people towards starvation and poverty. And what they're not saying, or what they don't say in the headline, is it's not necessarily the pandemic that's pushing hundreds of millions of people towards poverty. It's our government's response to the pandemic, and our media's response to the pandemic, and our corporate class's response to the pandemic. Because the coronavirus itself is not pushing people towards starvation and poverty. It's the lockdowns, it's the restrictions, it's all of these, border blockings and shortages, and things that are changing and shifting in how we run the world. This is what's pushing hundreds of millions of people towards starvation and poverty. So, you know, I've been saying this for a year. I don't want to scare people. I tell you that fear is just as bad for you, but people think it's like the safe route. Locking down forever is safe. Doing what I'm told is safe. It's like they're going to end up killing tens of millions of people, and they've probably already killed millions of people. If you look at just like excess of tuberculosis deaths because they've diverted medics. I'm going to find that one again real quick because I always use that. TB deaths. I think it's a Guardian article. It was from last year. COVID said to cause 400,000 surge in tuberculosis deaths as medics are diverted. So just their medics being diverted is killing 400,000 people with tuberculosis alone. This isn't even counting opioids, obesity, all of the people that got fatter because they shut down gyms, and these children that are fat that are going to end up having their life cut. I mean, the death toll of what they're doing is astronomical. They're killing more people than they're saving, but they're not going to do a study on that because they're trying to sell pharmacy products. So they're not going to do this big study. Let's add up all the collateral damage to the people's lives we saved. Well, let's look at Africa. Let's look at Singapore. Let's look at Vermont. Let's look at a Newsweek article from this week. Literally, there was a Newsweek article in December that said the 5 least. Let me read it real quick. And you can look it up yourself, okay? But I don't want to mess this up. Newsweek is no way, shape, or form right wing or anything. Newsweek least vaccinated states. I just want to see what's happening in the least vaccinated states. Newsweek said 5 days ago, COVID cases are falling in the 5 least vaccinated states. So the 5 least vaccinated states are falling in COVID cases, according to left-wing Newsweek. Why? Because it's true. Just look at the charts. Well, 2 of the most vaccinated states, Massachusetts, what was the other one? I know Vermont is one, and then Connecticut, I believe, or let me look it up again. I looked it up because there were the top 2. I forget exactly what they were. One of them was Massachusetts. I forget what the second one was, but they were both going up. These are the most vaccinated states per 1 dose. There's like 2 doses, 3 doses, whatever. But the most vaccinated states, I believe they had over 80% of 1 dose. I'd have to check again, though. They were going up, but the 5 least vaccinated states are going down. So when it's all said and done, how many lives did you really save? Locking people down, did you really save any lives with the hundreds of millions of doses? Are you really saving as many lives as you're saying? We'll see, but the collateral damage is astronomical, and they don't want to talk about it. So before I read this article, I'm not trying to get on my high horse, but people need to realize that communists in the past have killed millions of people with starvation and poverty, and the communists of the present are going to kill millions of people through starvation and poverty. And they've already killed millions of people with their collateral damage. And you know what? Before I start, I have to say this again. One thing that really bothered me, I'm going to bring it up again real quick, is that during the pandemic, the left wing went insane and the right wing was like, let's just quarantine the elderly. Elderly people are not slaves either. And when you're elderly, there's more than just lining up for pharmacy products, okay? You need to exercise, you need to keep it moving, you need to have human interaction. Without that, you're going to die quicker. And this is not just my opinion. There's mainstream articles, mainstream studies that prove that human interaction and community is very important for long lasting life. In fact, one of the most important things, according to a study done out of Italy, to find out how they live so long. The community was a major part of it. So when you treat elderly people like slaves and act like, oh, life is too dangerous now, you should just not really exercise for a few weeks or stay in your house, you're wearing down their body, their muscles are wearing down, their bones are wearing down, and it's not easy to get that back like it is when you're younger. So I believe, and I don't think they're going to do a study, but if you measure the amount of bone damage and muscular damage and mental damage and physical damage and psychological damage that they did to elderly during the lockdowns, I would highly suggest that they killed more people than they saved. But that's a study that they won't do. They don't want to find those numbers out. They're never gonna measure the millions of elderly people that they hurt and killed by, stopping their daily routine and forcing them to live in a confined space, which is one of the least healthy things you could do. If I used to get sick all the time when I just stayed inside and I didn't really go anywhere and I was broke. That's the worst thing you could do. Any healthy person will tell you, don't just sit inside. That's like the worst thing you could do for your body, for your spirit, for your mind. Sitting inside is so bad for your physical health, mental health, psychological health. I don't even know if that's really debatable. Nobody just sits inside. That's healthy. That's not healthy. That's what they told you to do. These people are like professional inverters. They tell you up is down, down is up, left is right, right and left. And people believe it because, I don't know, they're like, well, Donald Trump had to do it, or blah, 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 or Biden saving my life from Trump. It's like, I don't even know what people are thinking anymore, but it's so disgusting. So once again, before we start this article, they need to start talking about fear causes major damage to the body. Stress causes major damage to the body. So if you're going to say anything that raises fear and stress, you should let people know this unless you're trying to purposely kill them. So I don't know what it is, ignorance, ego, something more nefarious, but these people need to get a grip. All right, Joe Pinsker, I don't know. He said, how to socialize safely during the booster era. This winter, there are many shades of what it means to be vaccinated. Here's how to make everyday risk assessments. He says, this past spring, this is the Atlantic, if somebody told you that they were fully vaccinated, you knew precisely what they meant. At least 2 weeks before, they'd received 2 doses of the Moderna or COVID vaccine, 2 doses of the Pfizer, or 1 dose of the Johnson & Johnson. I don't know why I'm saying that, just trying to make it more fun. Now, what it means to be vaccinated encompasses much more variety. Some people who have gotten their initial doses haven't gotten a booster dose. And some people mixed and matched the brands of their first shots and their first booster. What's more, everyone's on their own personal timeline depending on what they get when they get their shots. Amid this complexity, kids under 5 still aren't eligible for shots at all. As the weather gets colder in much of the country and people bring more of their socializing indoors, this variety of vaccination history introduces questions Americans didn't previously have to deal with. Is it safe to hang out with someone who is vaccinated but not boosted? Can unvaccinated little kids spend time safely with unboosted adults? And will the new coronavirus variant, Omicron, further complicate the risk calculus of an already complicated winter? Here's when trying to gauge whether a gathering will be risky, the most important variable by far continues to be whether the attendees are vaccinated. Jessica Malati Rivera, a fellow researcher at Boston Children's Hospital, told me that she wouldn't feel safe spending time with an unvaccinated person indoors if she saw them at all. The meetup would be outside and with masks. I could read this whole article, but I don't want to bore you. It's pretty much all this. The funny part is they don't really reference any studies. They don't really reference many articles in this article. They just say, oh, here's one person who works at a hospital who told me what she thinks. And that's great. I'm not saying you can't do this, but where are the studies that prove that that's what's going on? Where are the studies that show that it's so much safer to do that? When you get what I'm saying, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I want to show you something real quick that I found, because I told everybody, I have my reasons for what I want to do, but one of the biggest smoking guns to me, I don't care what people do. I don't care if they get it. I don't care if they don't, but I would consider somebody trying to force this in my arm an act of violence. And I'll tell you why. First of all, it's a needle. Second of all, I don't want it. Third of all, the company doesn't have liability for side effects, injuries, and deaths under the PrEP Act in America. I've talked about this a lot. Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson for their COVID vaccine or mRNA shot, or Johnson & Johnson double shot that's not mRNA, they don't have any liability for side effects, injuries, or deaths. So that means if you get injured, if you have a crazy side effect, if something bad happens, if your family member dies while getting the shot, they don't have liability. So this has always been my question. I know the history of it. I know why they did it. I followed the Reagan era and the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. But everywhere that you look, it says they're safe and effective. They're safe and effective. They're safe and effective. And here's the thing. For some people, absolutely. But for some people, they're not. And we can have an argument about what that percentage is. And over time, we'll figure that out if they're honest with the data. But the truth is, this is the truth that they won't say, and they're starting to censor and cover up. It's actually not safe and effective for everybody, because if it was safe for everybody, they wouldn't need to shield themselves from liability. But they do shield themselves from liability. And it's become mainstream news that these vaccine companies will not do business with any country that doesn't shield them from liability. So this is The Guardian from September 10th, 2021. The Guardian reported Pfizer accused of holding Brazil to ransom over vaccine contract. Pfizer said it has not interfered with any country's diplomatic blah, blah, blah. But you could read that article, but they're accused of holding Brazil ransom. That's The Guardian. New York Times reported in February of 2021, governments signed secret vaccine deals. Here's what they hide. Multi-billion-dollar contracts give drug makers liability shields. This is Reuters on June 10th, 2021. India to give indemnity to foreign vaccine makers like Pfizer. Coronavirus vaccine, this is independent. Pfizer given protection from legal action. So if you do your research, if you Google or DuckDuckGo, liability, Pfizer, whatever, other countries, you just start browsing around mainstream articles, you'll find out that these vaccine manufacturers, they don't want to do business with a country that doesn't shield them from liability. So to me, that's really interesting, because if you really believe it's 100% safe and you really believe in the safety of your product, why wouldn't you take liability? It must not happen, right? There must be nothing that really bad happens, I'm sure, right? Or is there? They know that there is. They know that there are people that suffer. They know that there are people that'll die. They know that there are people that have side effects. Whether that number is 1%, 0.01%, or 0.00001%, that's pretty cowardly of them to try to force it in everybody's arm, knowing that there's going to be a number of people. And there are already people on social media, major athletes in multiple different sports leagues that can't play anymore because they were injured. This is, so rare that I keep seeing it pop up all the time in multiple different sports leagues. So it's like, leave everybody alone. The fact that they're mandating this vaccine that clearly in every vaccinated country, whether it's Gibraltar, Singapore, Israel, America, it doesn't stop the spread of coronavirus. It doesn't stop the positive PCR test. It doesn't stop people from getting it. It doesn't stop people from spreading it. You have propagandists on television telling people that the unvaccinated are responsible for Omicron. That's speculation. And to be honest, from what I'm seeing, it's just straight up false, because the first person in California who was found with Omicron in America somehow, they were double vaccinated. The person found in Minnesota, triple vaccinated. The person in Israel found with it, there's one person that was double, one person that was triple. The 4 people in South Africa that were found with it, they were all vaccinated, all fully vaccinated, whatever that means, because there is no such thing as fully vaccinated. If they could take that status away from you every couple of days and then tell you need to get a booster shot. So, this is never going to end. They're doing it to people in New York City. They're trying to do it further and further and further in this country. And I hope people start to realize what's going on. It's not a matter of being pro or anti or all these labels that they're trying to invent and create and get you to either agree with or say you are. I'm not any of that stuff. The best example that I've tried to say to educate people is I'm not anti-juice, but I don't like every juice. I'm not anti-coffee, but there's certain coffees I don't like to drink. You know what I'm saying? I'm not anti-fruit, but there's certain things that I want to take. I don't. I have a very sensitive, schedule for myself of what I want to do as an adult, and I don't let people tell me what to do. Especially the CDC on their watch. Has cancer gone down on the CDC's watch? Have they been able to wrangle in cancer? They haven't. It's only gotten worse in my lifetime, and my mom's lifetime, and my family's lifetime. Have they been able to wrangle in diabetes? No, they haven't. Have they been able to wrangle in obesity, something that is very preventable in millions of people? No, they haven't. So if you look at all these diseases, there are some that they were successful, but a lot that they've been wildly unsuccessful. And the opioid abuses of this country, the fact that in 2016 we were found to be 5% of the world's population taking 80% of the opioids. We have record high overdoses. Kids are depressed. Kids are addicted. Our life expectancy in America for the first time is going backwards because mainly people are killing themselves by mistake and purposely through opioids and other things. So this industry is not going. They've been wildly unsuccessful. They can't even keep life expectancy going up. They're not going to put a product in my body against my will that they're not taking liability for side effects, injuries, and deaths. And even if they were taking liability, I still wouldn't want it. But the fact that they're not, because there's no amount of money that you can pay me that's going to make me want to do something I don't want to do. But the fact that they're not, they're shielding themselves from liability in every country just proves who they really are. They don't want liability. They want to just push propaganda and push this down people's throats. And I'm not doing it. And if they do this for this product, like I've said, they can do it for every product. But this industry has been wildly unsuccessful at stopping a lot of death that could be preventable, and they don't care. They are completely shameless. They don't care about exercise. They don't care about health. They don't care about mental health. They don't care about taking care of yourself. They shame Joe Rogan to the high heavens, who's running circles around them, who's getting $100 million contracts from Spotify. Why is Joe Rogan doing so much better than the mainstream media? Is it because he's such a terrible person? No, he's one of the only people talking about two things that are so basic and so simple. And this is why people like him, among other reasons. One of them is whether you're vaccinated or not, whether you get the COVID injections or not, there are millions of people who are getting sick. There are millions of people getting mildly sick. There are millions of people who are getting very sick that are vaccinated, and millions of people who are getting very sick that didn't take the vaccination. And what Joe Rogan wants to do is help people after they get sick, which is something that nobody really seems interested in the media, because whether you could get 3 jabs and get wildly ill, regardless of what they tell you, that's happening to thousands of people. So what do you do when you're sick? What do you do when you did everything you could do, when you got all the injections, but you still get sick? You should look towards how to heal yourself. And Joe Rogan, whether they agree with his method or not, he's telling Aaron Rodgers, Dana White, people, whether they're vaccinated, how to heal themselves once they get sick. And he has something that seems to be working for himself, Tim Pool, Dana White, and Aaron Rodgers. So people respect that. They could call it this or that, but he got quicker, he got healthier a lot quicker than people in the media. So that's an important talking point. But apparently all the money is in the vaccine, the preventative medication, and apparently the monoclonal antibodies or some of the other stuff they have. Maybe it's not a big enough cash cow for them to care about or something, but it doesn't, at the end of the day, if you really want to save lives, they should be very clear on what to do afterwards. You would think, listening to the media, that if you get sick, you go to your doctor and get a vaccine. But a vaccine doesn't help you once you're already sick. Not at all. You get what I'm saying? It's like it's a preventative thing, but then you could still get sick. So you got to know what to do afterwards. I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't listen to somebody like Joe or Ron DeSantis, who talks about monoclonal antibodies. That's the only place you really hear about them. You don't hear about them on the media. And he also talks about taking care of yourself, which is why people listen. He talks about saunas. He talks about diet and exercise. He talks about like mental health. Like that's root level stuff. And it couldn't be more simple than like looking at the fact that they're not telling people to exercise, the fact that childhood obesity is going up and Fauci barely says a word about it, if he's ever said anything about it. At this point, it's just like basic common sense. If you don't understand the people running the show do not give two craps about people's health and have become so engulfed with one product and one industry that they have literally, if your health was like a pie chart, they have literally honed in on a little slice of the pie and ignored the entire thing: mental health, physical health, spiritual health, taking care of yourself, diet, exercise, routines. None of this means nothing to them, and it's not really a surprise why. If you look at if you research into this stuff, whether you got these products or not, everybody takes some sort of medical product or some sort of nutrition product, but there's doctors getting kickbacks for prescribing certain things. This is a fact. There are people on both sides of politics getting millions of dollars from big pharma lobbyists. They're the number one lobbyist in Washington. Cigarettes used to be the biggest lobbyist, and tobacco, and they would pay people off and act like it was so great. Now it's the big pharma. So it's like, this isn't natural. This isn't normal. Who's one of the biggest sponsors on television? These people, it's a never-ending cycle of just money, money, money. They're making a fortune. When the entire stock market goes down, Pfizer goes up. It's like, come on, folks. How much more obvious could it be? So before I end real quick, I want to say this too. In order to stop this, people have to cut it at the root. And one thing that's concerning to me when I talk to people on the right, I mean the left, everything they're doing is concerning. But on the right, people are acting like when Trump and Republicans do step one, like say it's a 10 steps to authoritarianism. And let's just say the first couple steps started years ago. Okay. Let's not blame it all on one person or two people, but let's say it's been 10 steps to authoritarianism. We did one, we did two. In 2020, Trump did step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7. Then Joe Biden gets in. He does step 8, 9, and 10. And what I hear out of conservatives a lot, not all, but he didn't mandate it. It's like, yeah, but he did all the steps up to it. And then now he's just running around the country selling the product that they are mandating. And that's all he seems to really care about. So this is why conservatives lose, because they don't know how to get rid of a problem. Like you don't just pick at a leaf and say you're knocking down a tree. You have to cut the tree at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So conservatives, they make F Joe Biden, ha ha ha, like they're just picking at leaves. It's low hanging fruit. And then when somebody's like, hey, if you really want to do something about this, you have to call out what's going on. And people don't seem to understand that. Like for instance, on Twitter, every time I say this, people say, but he didn't mandate it, but he didn't mandate it. Operation Warp Speed's fine. It's good to do what he did because he didn't mandate it. It's actually not. And here's why it's not. It's not free market. If I have no problem with any vaccine or any pill, I don't want to say any, but I don't care what Big Pharma does if they do it through their own innovation. This was not raw innovation. Oh my God, it's a medical miracle. No, it's not. It's Donald Trump taking $18 billion of taxpayer money without our permission and giving it to Big Pharma. This was not innovation. This was not free market. This was socialism and communism. Shut the country down, funnel $18 billion to Big Pharma, subsidize their product, pay for their product, rush their product, emergency use authorize their product, skip normal trials that they usually take. It usually takes a couple of years and they study it for longer. Just put it out and we'll do the trials as we go along. Buy the product that you just subsidized. They didn't just subsidize the product. They subsidized the product and then bought the product that they already paid for in many cases. It's like this was the most corrupt thing from the core. So I don't want to hear, and knowing that he put it out through an emergency, Donald Trump knew and all his advisors knew, and Mike Pence and Fauci, they knew that these manufacturers had no liability for side effects, injuries, or deaths. He knows this. This is why Trump sounds like a little dog with his tail between his legs, because he's lying. When he says he saved 100 million lives from a Spanish flu, he's lying. Donald Trump's lying. I know he's lying. You know he's lying. Everybody knows he's lying. He knows he's lying, but he won't stop lying, and people don't seem to think it's a big deal. So I don't want to hear that it's so great even though he didn't mandate it. It's really not. Giving $18 billion to Big Pharma with taxpayer money through a socialist scam, that's not good. Allowing them to emergency use authorize this and bragging about it and bragging about trying to rush the FDA like a psychopath. Donald Trump is like more bullish, faster, faster, faster. It's like, shut up, Trump. You should get another booster, old man. But in general, you deceiver. But in general, it's like it's not good. It's like steps 1 through 7, and then Biden does 8 through 10, and you wonder why you lose. You get what I'm saying? It's like it's not good. Just because it wouldn't be good if Biden did it, it wouldn't be good if Trump did it. If they want to create their own product in a normal market and sell it to people who want it, that's fine. But a socialist scam where they're getting taxpayer money to do this, and so much money. Like, what do you think happens when they get $18 billion? Do you think if you gave big tobacco $18 billion, like, yeah, things are going to get worse? It's going to get more tyrannical because you're giving them money, you're giving them power, you're giving them extra goodies, you're giving them liability. Like, you're setting yourself up. That's what Republicans do. They set themselves up. And the Democrats are, someone said Biden's the worst of all. That's absolutely true. But what people don't realize is, like, it's like a WWE tag team. It's like, Bush does this, Obama does this, hands it off to Trump. Trump does this, hands it off to Biden. And people think that, like, Republicans are fighting it so hard. I appreciate them for not being Democrats, but it's like they're a WWE pharmacy tag team. Like, Trump does this, hands it off to Biden. Biden does this, everybody blames Biden, and they don't even realize that it was set up through Trump. So it's just annoying, but whatever. That's my thoughts, and I really hope it catches on and people start doing this, or else people are just going to go right back to another disappointment. So it comes from the people. It comes from people demanding more, and that's what it is. So I just wanted to say that I don't think what he did was good just because there's no liability. That would be like, saying the Patriot Act was good when it wasn't used on you. It looked good for a few years until they started using it on patriots. It's like it was always meant to be used against you. That's like Trump. Everything he did in 2020, it was always meant to be used against you. The example that's even better, it would be like lobbing a basketball, and then the basketball's over the rim and someone dunks it in your face and it hits you in the head. And then I say, did you see, he purposely threw it up so they could dunk it on your head? Like, they knew that was going to happen. I knew that, and they still did it. And you're like, well, technically he didn't dunk it in my face. He wasn't the one who threw it in my face. It's like, yeah, technically he wasn't the one who threw it in your face, but he knew that it was going to be thrown in your face because that was what was always going to happen. It's like that's the perfect example of what they're doing. It's like they know what, like, you just think for some reason that they don't know anything. Like, everybody knows it except for them. All right, I'm gonna answer some questions for like 15 minutes or till I get kicked out of my hotel room. Someone said it's called an alley oop assist. Exactly. It's alley oop. The Republicans alley oop, the Democrats dunk it. And by the way, I think there were like 80 Republicans who voted for some sort of like vaccine like proof thing. I forget exactly what it was, but Crenshaw was on it, McCarthy was on it. These people are trying to fortify the biomedical security state. At a certain point, I guess what I want to say is I think Trump was way better than Biden. I think Trump was one of the best presidents ever for a while. But this idea of like it's everybody but Trump is bad. It's like, no, he's kind of in on it too, And if people can frame it like that, we can do something about it. But he's like the carrot in front of your face. It's like, oh, if he comes back, we're gonna do something someday. He's gonna go. It's like, no, he's not. But it's not a bad thing. It just means we need to face our problems. How do we get big money out of politics? I guess. I mean, here's another thing. I'm not trying to blame Trump because it's not his fault, but people were starting to demand big money out of politics. This was huge 3 years ago. Everyone's like, let's get money out of politics. But now nobody cares again because they hate Trump so much that they don't care that Democrats are getting big money. And a lot of people love Trump so much that they don't believe that Trump's getting money. But they're both getting money. It's like Trump screwed up both sides' heads. Like, Democrats are like, oh, Biden's going to save me. Biden's getting like $8 billion from big pharma. How's he going to save you? But also Trump's getting millions of dollars. No, Trump's not getting millions. He's different. He would never get money. Yeah, he did. He get $1 million from Pfizer for his inauguration and then put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of human health services. Like, for some reason now nobody cares about it. So it's got to start with people caring and saying like, okay, if you're going to sell me out, then I don't want to vote for you. But here's the thing. It's like Jim Jordan versus, Nancy Pelosi, and Jim Jordan's like, Nancy, you're bad. And Nancy's like, no, Jim, you're bad. You're bad, Jim Jordan. No, you're bad, Nancy Pelosi. And then Dan Crenshaw comes in and he's like, you're bad. I'm from Texas and I wear cowboy hats. And me and Ben Shapiro, we wrestled, cows, huge cows. And everyone's like, he's legit, and it's like a big show. So I feel like these politicians on both sides benefit from the fact that everybody hates the other side. But it's like, why? Look at some of the stuff they're voting. Like, why are they doing that? I don't know. But nobody ever calls them out. That's why I do this so much. People don't realize why I say what I say, because 90% of Republicans, all they do is make fun of Democrats. And all the Democrats do is make fun of Republicans. And the truth is, like, nobody looks at their own side. I talk about Republicans more because I consider that my side. Clearly, it's going to be, if it's going to be anybody at this point in time, it's going to be Republicans that put this country back on the right direction. It's coming from the right. So I'm trying to get that through to people on the right instead of having this like constant de escalation. That's why I talk about it so much. So, yeah, how do we get big money out of politics? People have to care, but nobody cares if you just, well, Ilhan Omar. It's like, I'm fighting the squad. All right, I'm here to wear cowboy hats and wrangle cows and fight the squad. And people are like, oh my God, they're fighting the anti-Semites. Let's give them our money. Let's throw money at the GOP. They're fighting Ilhan Omar. They're this close to getting, AOC. She's almost back at bartending. She's gonna be back at bartending school if Dan Crenshaw and Jim Jordan just, Madison Cawthorn's really close to Rashida Tlaib's gonna, it's gonna we gotta pass this speech bill so they can't speak freely about Israel because we believe in free speech and stuff, just not anti-Semites. We gotta shut those out because God forbid somebody talks about our greatest ally. They gotta shut their mouth. But besides that, I'm totally into the First Amendment, just not that part. But if we get this new guy into office, he's really he's really gonna stick it to Chuck Schumer this time. We need to give more money. We didn't give enough money to Trump, 250 million for election fraud, but maybe we just need quarter billion more. It's pretty funny. Someone said DeSantis would make a good president as far as I would see. I like the fact that he's like 43. I'm not trying to be mean, but I absolutely, we love our elderly people here. That's why we don't want to lock them down. But I'm sorry, Biden is too old, clearly. And so is Trump. Trump is too old. He's like 70. He's going to be like 78, 79. We're going to have an 80-year-old president. Listen to Trump. I'm not trying to be mean, but listen to him in 2017 and then listen to him now. He sounds like a dog with his tail. He's like, hey, Fauci's my friend. Grr. I saved the world with my vaccines. I saved the world. And everyone's like, at least he didn't mandate it. He's just lying all the time on Fox News. It's like, can we get somebody younger? I'm not even saying DeSantis is going to save your life. It's just like, at least he's 43 and isn't like shitting his pants. I don't know. Biden's too old. So it makes Trump look like he's not too old, but Trump's too old too. I think it should be DeSantis versus Kamala Harris. Let's cut the age in half. Someone said Kamala's worse than Biden or Trump. Well, I'm not telling her to run because she's good. I'm just saying she's young and I feel like she's unpopular, so she'd be easy to beat. But I'm also not saying DeSantis is gonna like save everything. It's got to be a group effort. People got to pitch in. Every American's got to pitch in, and also pay attention. The idol worship is destroyed America. Like loving Trump, hating Trump, obsessing over Trump, hating Trump, defending Trump, thinking Trump is like gonna steal your money. This has ruined America on both sides of people just obsessing emotionally over a politician or a president. Like we can't have that with DeSantis. People got to question their own side, question their own people, be able to stand up against them. That's what populist is supposed to be. Populism is not get behind a leader and just let him screw up and act like it's okay. It's supposed to be like the people speak back. But I think to make American great again, people got to start working out and exercising. Like, in order to make America great, you can't have like a used vaccine car salesman selling Moderna shots and McDonald's. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but like Trump was great for a while, but he's like McDonald's is so good, Johnson and Johnson's so good. Like, he's just like a boomer who eats too many hamburgers. And I'm not trying to be mean because I eat hamburgers too. I'm just saying, like, if Trump really wants to make America again, he's got to stop sucking off big pharma and start telling people to get stronger, work out, exercise, get in shape. That's how you make America great again. Let's get back to 1930s where everybody looked like bodybuilders. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody looks like Jabba the Hutt, and they're just sitting on the couch like hating Trump. They're like, Rachel Maddow's gonna save me, and they're like, oh, I just bought a Trump Happy Meal at McDonald's. Yeah, we're making America great again. We're it's like, no, we're not. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, if you want to make America great, we gotta start busting some moves. You know what I'm saying? Greatness starts with you. Let's get two jack for the gulag. Oh, we're going to camps. I'm not going to a camp, okay? I'm not 15 years old anymore. I'm not going to summer camp, okay? I've gone to camp. I went to soccer camp. I went to outdoors camp. I went to sports camp. I'm not going to the quarantine camps. I'm getting two jack for the gulag, and I suggest you do too, because there's nothing better. There's nothing more rebellious than getting in shape when the people in power want you to be lazy and fat, and they hate you and they want you to die. There's nothing more rebellious that you could do than be happy, healthy, and successful. How do we save America? Trump, DeSantis, Rand Paul, get jacked or get healthy, get happy. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy yourself. Do make the most of your life. That's the greatest thing you could do, to stick it to the deep state. You don't gotta sit on Twitter and yell at me or yell at someone else. Someone said grow up. There's nothing not grown about getting in shape. Like, I'm gonna grow up, but I'm not gonna just sit on the couch. I'm sorry. Like, this is grown up. Look, if you want your nation to be great, people gotta get better. I'm sorry, people are not taking care of themselves right now. If you want to make America great again, start exposing seed oils and how destructive seed oils are. Get back to making French fries and better quality stuff. The whole system is designed to make us fatter and more disgusting. It's like, this doesn't need it. We need a president that says, yo, stop using seed oils. You know what I'm saying? Start working out. No more lockdowns of mandatory jumping jacks like that. You want authoritarian. Right now you have big pharma tyranny, big big pharma communism. We're going to lose to China because China's doing communism for the state. They're like, get jacked, work out, and love China. In America, they're like, get fat, take vaccines, and like eat seed oil. It's like, that's not it. That's not making America great again. We gotta revolutionize the food industry. The pharma industry is disgusting. They're like the most disgusting industry. But it's okay. He didn't mandate. No, they're disgusting. I don't care. Stop giving my tax money to a disgusting industry that has no liability for their products that I don't want, that they're trying to force down my throat. That's not making America great again. Trump's making America worse. I mean, Biden's making it super worse, but you get what I'm saying? It needs to be like a whole movement where everybody's like, yo, I'm getting jacked. I'm getting successful. I'm getting back to traditional times. Not like, yeah, I'm gonna sit on the couch and listen to freaking Sean Hannity yell at Ilhan Omar. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, that's not gonna make America great again. I have to explain seed oil. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm a health expert, but all the seed oils like canola oil, vegetable oil, I want to say soy. There's a lot of products that if you look into them, it's not the play. You're better off with like ghee butter, like olive oil is better, I believe, like organic pressed olive oil. Just look into like all the oils they're cooking our food in, like at fast food and even mainstream stuff. It's just garbage. It's just not good for your body. So, like, that's what I try to tell people on here. The food industry, it's not like eating meat is horrible for you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not a vegan, but maybe some people are and they feel that way. But it's not like you can't eat a hamburger. I'm not telling people not to eat cheeseburger, not to eat bread. It's just the bread we're eating is not even legal in certain countries. The meat we're eating is not even legal in certain countries. Like, they're killing us with the food. I don't know any other way to say it. So I'm not trying to be like a buzzkill and be like, eat carrots every day. eat your hamburger, but ask why your hamburger is illegal in multiple countries in Europe. Ask why your bread and the dough conditioner is banned in multiple countries across the planet. It's because it's deadly. They're feeding us deadly food all over the place. So in order to make America great again, we need our food industry revolutionized, our medicine industry off our backs. Like that's how we're gonna get big and jacked. So that's what I like to like. Someone said cottonseed oil is garbage. Most seed oils are trash, in my opinion. But um, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like you could eat things that aren't great if the quality is a little bit better. Um, so I don't want to tell people what to cook in and stuff. That's on you. But that's my idea of making America great again. Is like we gotta rapeseed oil. Yeah, it's terrible. They're doing this stuff because it's cheap. It's just cheaper. If it's cheaper, they'll sell it. It's like, and that's on us too. It's based on what you buy. They'll sell it if you buy it. They lied to us in the 90s with their cereal. Cereal, like the food coloring's illegal in certain countries. It's like sugar. They're like feeding you sugar in the morning. Our country's crazy. Like seriously, it's so messed up. But that's what I want. And here's my thing. People are like, if it's not Trump, then who? If it's not Rand, I don't know. My whole life doesn't revolve around these people. I'll vote for who I have to vote for, but this is what politics has become in America. Politics is leading everybody. These people are not leaders, and that's all I'm trying to say. Like Trump, he's a politician. He's a big pharma salesman. Is he my leader? Of course not. I don't work for the devil. If I work for the devil, then maybe I'd like Trump and I'd look up to him for a leader. But I don't work for Satan. I work for Christ. I work for the country. So Trump's not my leader because he's a douchey big pharma salesman who sold his own people out on the 1 yard line. So I maybe if I have to vote for that wicked man again, maybe I will because he's less wicked than Biden or something. But he's not my leader. A leader would be talking about food. A leader would be talking about working out. A leader would be talking about the mandates all the time. A leader would be talking about how bad lockdowns are. My leader is talking about lockdown. I saved the country. I'm fighting China. I'm selling vaccines. He's a disgusting, wicked man. Like, is he better than other people in that disgusting industry? Sure, I guess. Yeah, clearly. But is he my leader? Ew. I would never listen now. No, of course not. So people don't need politicians to be their leader. Like that's half the problem. Is like people don't think outside the box. It's Biden or Trump. You could ignore politics for a year and follow financial people and like workout people, and you could lose 100 pounds and get $200,000 in the bank account. So it's like it's like my whole life doesn't revolve around these people when they're so wicked. If he wants to stop selling vaccines and talking about something that's important, then maybe he can be my leader again. But until then, it's like he's such a low energy, gross guy. Like he's just selling pharmacy products like a demon. So it's like, like Trump is equivalent to like a television commercial now. He's deduced himself from the greatest president in modern history to a shitty pharmacy commercial. Like Trump is he's like an embodiment of like a 2 hour, or I'm sorry, like a 2 minute like pill commercial on television. That's who Trump is now. He's like a marching commercial. Like he did a vaccine. I did the vaccine. He says the same thing every time. He's on Fox and Friends 3 days ago. Same thing. He doesn't think mandates would be there because everybody wants the vaccine. If he was in office, everybody would be getting the vaccine. He's not talking to you. The left doesn't want to hear this. He's not doing it for votes. He's shouting out to the elites and big pharma. He's saying, I'm a better puppet than Biden. I'll get everybody vaccinated. Alabama will listen to me. Put me back in office and I'll get everybody vaccinated. He's not talking to me. He's not my leader. He's signaling to the pharmacy industry and the elites, please put me back in. I'll be a good boy this time. I'll sell more vaccines. He's gross. He's like a gross pharmacy commercial that never stops playing. So the fact that so many people think he's their leader is why America is so bad. Like, tune him out, listen to financial advisors, listen to Dave Ramsey, listen to some Jack Bros on Twitter, work out, do some push-ups, you know what I'm saying? Try to invest in something that's good, or start a business, focus on yourself, love your friends and family, have a good time, have a good 2022. Don't listen to the disheveled vaccine salesman who just is like a never ending. That's not a leader. That's a wicked politician disguising himself as an American patriot slobbering over his own ego and the vaccine industry. He's disgusting. He's like a disgusting pharmacy commercial. They're like, get this pill, and then they tell you every side effect, except Trump doesn't talk about the side effects. Do you know why? You know why Trump doesn't talk about the side effects, and the Pfizer CEO doesn't talk about the side effects? Do you know why? Every commercial, every pharmacy commercial, side effects, side effects. It could start your heart, you get bleeding, your ulcers, blah, blah, blah. They tell you every side effect. Do you know why this one doesn't have anybody telling you the side effects? Do you know why? Because they don't have to. They have complete liability. They have immunity. Here's a fact that's going to bother the big goofy vaccine salesman, Biden and pharma. It's a fact, though. If you get 2 shots or 3 shots, whatever it is, you do not have 100% immunity. You just don't. It's going to wane over time. You can still get the virus. There have been people who got it after they got the shot. So if you get the vaccine, I'm not saying it doesn't do anything, but I am saying you do not have immunity, 100% immunity if you get the shot. That's a fact, a scientific fact. Do you know who does have 100% immunity? Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, and the government. They have 100% immunity from being sued from you over side effects, injuries, and deaths. So they have the immunity, but it's not natural immunity, or it's not, an immune system immunity from a shot. It's a torch shield from ever getting sued over side effects and injuries from the product that they're forcing on everybody. So, that's where the 100% immunity is. Am I going to get a haircut? I just got a haircut. Am I going to cut it all off sometimes? Probably. Someone said you spend more than 50% of your time trashing Trump. I'm just telling the truth. I'm making up for all these other Republican influencers that never talk about it. You're never going to hear this. Nobody ever asked this guy a question. So I'm changing the culture. Alex Jones is starting to say it about Rand Paul and Donald Trump. Maybe he listens. I don't know. But I'm saying what I want to say. I'm making up for lost time because no one else talks about it, and I think it's funny. And to be honest, I also want to save people from his wicked ways. I don't want everybody watching him on Fox News and he's like, I saved the Spanish flu. I saved the Spanish flu. I saved 100 million lives. Johnson & Johnson should have never paused. I don't care about side effects. I rush the FDA. I rush the FDA. McDonald's is a great American corporation. I don't want people listening to this guy. Like he's gonna kill his own supporters. Like if they keep listening. Without me, the FDA would have taken 4 years. Fauci wanted to study it for 4 years, and I'm such a fat piece of trash that I told Fauci to rush it quickly. It's like, ew, disgusting. What a gross guy. He should quit his job as a politician and just be like a commercial. They could put him on a Fox and CNN commercial. Be I saved the world from the flu. Get the pill. Get the pill. You take pills and take vaccines and, get fat like me. And you'll be real healthy, okay? It's like, ew, gross. Orange man officially bad, but for different reasons. I don't want people. I love boomers. Okay, we love base boomers. I don't want boomers to listen to this guy and be like, "Oh, McDonald's is great and vaccines are great. Make America great again." Yeah, we're making America great again. We're watching Sean Hannity. We're eating burgers. We're listening to Trump sell his product forever. The dude is stuck on loop. Like maybe he's malfunctioning or something. Like he said the same thing 100 times. Like every time he gets on television, he's like, Joe Biden, I saved the world. I saved the world with my vaccine. Listen, I'm going to play the clip on here, and then I got to go. Sorry, my ride's here. But can I play the clip real quick of Trump talking on Fox and Friends? He's so stupid. It's like, it's embarrassing. Seriously. Like, I'm embarrassed for him and the conservative movement. Like, this is not my move. I'm not going to be a part of this thing if he doesn't shut up. All right, here, let me find it real quick. Here's Big Pharma Donnie on Fox and Friends a few days ago. Listen how embarrassing this guy is.
Terrible job, just like he did with
funny.
Be president of the United States. Now more people have actually died. 770,000 during the Joe Biden administration.
Well, he's done a terrible job, just like he did with the H1N1. He's done just a absolutely terrible job. getting it out and
Hold on,
getting.
real quick. Whoever Trump's advisor is who tells him to keep talking about H1N1 flu, nobody cares because like nobody was even paying attention to that. So like, dude, that's not a talking point that works. Get this guy on a better talking point.
H1N1. He's done just a absolutely terrible job getting it out and getting people to take it. I mean, people just don't want to take it. And the vaccines have been, I have to be very proud of the vaccines. We did it in less than 9 months. People said it was going to take 5 years to 12 years and probably wouldn't work. They work incredibly well. Some people don't want to take them, and that's their freedom, and that's what we have to do. But people don't want to take them because they don't trust Biden. They don't trust the administration. We had none of that. Everybody was fighting to take them, and we were doing great. And we were doing really great on distribution. We also bought billions of dollars worth before we knew it was going to be successful, which saved us 1 year.
He said we bought billions of dollars worth before we knew they were going to be successful. Once they spend the money, I don't think they really care if they're successful because they already spent the money, so they're going to use the products. But he's trying to convince, like he's yelling to the elites. He's like, I'll vaccinate Alabama, I promise. I'll vaccinate Mississippi. Put me back in office. I'll get them vaccinated. Like, he's like, nobody gets the vaccine because they don't trust Biden. He's so garbage. He's a garbage human being. I used to respect Trump more than anybody on the planet. I don't respect him as a man. If I met him back in the day when I was invited to the White House, I was like, man, I'm so blessed to be here. Donald Trump is the most epic president ever. I'm so grateful to be in his presence. Now, if I saw him, I would look at him and be like, ew, you're disgusting. And I'm sorry, I wouldn't sit there and be like, oh my God, you're the best. Oh, I'm so happy. I would be like, why won't you talk about this? Why won't you talk about that? I'd give him a real interview like Bill O'Reilly. And he'd be like, instant print. Like, he's trying to brainwash Fox News into thinking that people don't want to get the vaccine because of Joe Biden. Some people, but there's, I would say, hundreds of millions of people on planet Earth that don't want to get it because they don't want to get it. It's not all about you, orange man, clown man bad, pharma man, big pharma Donnie, Grandpa Moderna, aka Don Juan, the mRNA Trump pump, the nonstop salesman, commercial Donnie, the big pharma shawarma. Someone said defector anomaly. Bro, I'm not in a cult. Yeah, I defected from Scientology. I defected from, I don't even want to call, I like Scientology better than Trump. But anyway, it's like, I'm not defecting. He's just a garbage person now. He wasn't always acting this way. But now he's downplaying the fact that hundreds of millions of people don't want to get the vaccine because they don't want to get it. It's not all about you, orange man. They don't want it because they don't trust. Listen again. That's him signaling to Big Pharma, put me back. I'll get my supporters vaccinated. I promise. I don't know why he just turned into a Jewish mother, but it's funnier that way. Get me back. I'll get my supporters vaccinated. Please put me back there.
Terrible job getting it out and getting people to take it. I mean, people just don't want to take it. And the vaccines have been, I have to be very proud of the vaccines. We did it in less than 9 months. People said it was going to take 5 years to 12 years and probably wouldn't work. They work incredibly well. Some people don't want to take them, and that's their freedom, and that's what we have to do. But people don't want to take them because they don't trust Biden. They don't trust the administration. We had none of that. Everybody was fighting to take them, and we were doing great. And we were doing really great on distribution. We also bought billions of dollars worth before we knew it was going to be successful, which saved us 1 year. So many things we did right, and what they're doing is very sad when you look at what's happening.
So, in his stupid head, everybody was lining up to get the shot under Trump. And now that Biden's president, that's why people don't trust it. And nobody says anything to him. None of his advisors none of his friends, his son, Don Jr. knows. Don Jr. sounds like he's my friend. You know what I'm saying? He talks like I talk sometimes. Like, talk to your father, Don Jr. Your father it's so sad. I love the guy, but it's like, he's turned into such a wicked man. He's turned into such a fraudulent leader. Like, all he cares about is himself and Big Pharma. He never talked about Big Pharma that much. Like, once in a while, he had like his own identity, his own agenda, his own set of priorities, and it was pretty epic. He was doing great. We loved him. Now his number one priority is big pharma, and he just thinks everybody would want to get it if he was in office. He's disgusting. So, people say I talk about it too much. It's funny to me. People need to hear this because you're going to hear the same thing 1,000 times on conservative platforms. No one's going to play these clips, but they're not hard to find. Just find a recent interview with Donald Trump. They're all the same. He says the same thing on loop, and he's lying every time. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Appreciate y'all. Have a beautiful day, and check me on the Candace show. She'll post clips on her social media. If you're subscribed to Daily Wire, you can watch it there. I am not, but I will check out the clips when they air on here, and hopefully I could get a handle on them, and then I could put them out myself. I'm going to talk to Candace and figure out if I can. Thank y'all. God bless you, and have a good day.